Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday, post-holiday, back to work. Hope everybody's doing well, and I hope you had a great 3-day weekend, if that's what you had. Fair warning, I had no plans to do this video. Right, I'm actually wearing sweatpants. I did not plan to do a live video on here today, but something just keeps coming up. It's been on my brain since last night. And just this theme keeps popping up over and over. So I wanted to share it with everybody. Now, initially today, I had planned to go live in my group. It's called Quit Your Job in 90 Days. And this is a group of people who are either already freelancing or they're aspiring freelancers. And my plan was to go in there and do a training session, right? That has absolutely nothing to do with what this video is about, because thinking about how I was going to do this training kind of led into this completely separate idea. So what I was planning to do, essentially, I have a coaching program that it's a 3-month program, and I help people transition from employment to freelancing. Now, there are multiple steps that we take through this program, and some people are already freelancing and they just want to scale up, but the steps are essentially the same for anybody who comes in the program. But I work with them one-on-one as individuals. Now, I'm trying to reach a wider audience. I can only help so many people, right? I can only take on so many clients at once. So I want to help more people. And the way for me to do that is to basically take everything that I'm doing and package it somehow. Like, write it down. How can I take everything that I do step by step and create, maybe a course or some type of training material, or I can really kind of write this stuff down and deliver it to a more general audience. So if I'm not working with you one-on-one, how can I deliver each of these lessons that we would go through in my 12-week program in a way that applies to you and doesn't require my direct involvement? So that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. Now, the first thing that we do is develop a niche, right? And that is like the most important thing. If you want to freelance successfully or run a successful business, you really have to niche down. You're probably sick of hearing this if you've seen any of my videos, but you have to niche down. It's the most important thing. So I'm sitting down and I'm like, okay, how am I going to do a video about niching down? Because this is something that I do, it's something that I'm good at, right? So I sit down and I talk to people and I ask a bunch of questions. Now I can write all these questions down and have you write down the answers. I'll actually post a link in the comments. I have a blog post on this that kind of helps you get started on the process of defining your niche, right? So I can ask all of these questions, but it's really tough to say, okay, I have all these skills. I'm passionate about these things. This is my work experience. And then connect it to something that you can monetize, and then figure out where to find people who are willing to pay for that, right? So I'm trying to, I'm trying to do this in the most general way possible, but without really knowing the person that I'm talking to and knowing what their skills are. It's something that when I have these conversations, I come up with these ideas and I'm like, oh, you could do this, or you could do this. And it's just something that I do, right? So I'm like, how do I teach that? How do I teach that skill? I mean, people, if you're watching this, like, yourself, you know what your skills are. And if you have questions about your niche, it's because you've already tried to do that. And, something didn't work, or you couldn't come up with any ideas. So, okay, take a step back, right? Why am I good at this? Why am I good at helping people define a niche? And really kind of digging, right? And trying to think, like, when did I start doing this? By the way, if you're watching this, we're going to be talking about the 3 core requirements to success in any area of life. So if you've seen the beginning of this so far and you have some idea of how that's going to connect to the 3 things, go ahead and guess in the comments, or in general, what do you think are the 3 core requirements of success in any area of life? This is something I kind of came up with through this process of trying to do niche training, right? So anyway, I dig in and I'm like, okay, how did I start doing this? And I go back to this conversation I had recently where I'm like, okay, how did I get into this line of work? I used to go to parties when I was a teenager, probably way too often. And I'm not a very social person. I don't like being in crowds. I don't like being the center of attention. So I'd always end up at a party, kind of like off to the side in some corner, having a one-on-one conversation with somebody about something that it was almost always about something that like really motivated them. And it was always a very like real deep conversation. So everybody's out here partying and I'm kind of over in the corner with one person, just having this like really deep conversation, right? It's just something that I've always done. And the conversation I had recently was about how I used to do that with startups. I always end up talking to somebody about like what business that they want to start or they've always wanted to start or what area they've always wanted to get into. Just something I'm really passionate about. But it could be anything really, you know, it could be like talking to somebody about, okay, just some examples. I'm trying to think back to when I was a teenager, but you know, I'd be sitting talking to somebody about how they like love to play guitar and they want to be like a famous guitarist, right? And I'd be trying to convince them to like go to Berkeley or, you know, just trying to like push them and motivate them and really believe in them, right? And that kind of led me into, and sometimes it was like, it could be something like maybe something they were struggling with. So say they had a parent that they haven't spoken with since they were a child, but they live nearby. And it's something that bothers them, right? And so I'd be having this conversation with them about like, well, how can you approach this? How can you deal with this? You know, should you reach out and communicate with them? So these were very real conversations. And these are the three things that I came up with, right? Through kind of going through how my niche definition process really works at its core. The biggest thing when I was having these conversations with these people is that we're being real and we're being honest, right? Like 100% honest. This isn't a conversation where, you know, you walk up to somebody at a party. The reason I was having these conversations is because everybody else was like, hey, how are you? I'm good. That's not a real conversation, right? You're not good. Nobody's good. You might be great. You might be really shitty. I mean, there's so many areas in between. There's so much more to answer. How are you really as a, you know, how are you really doing? So I'm having these like real honest conversations. And I think that's the first step to succeed in any area of your life is to be real about it and be honest. What are your goals? What do you really want? I don't care if it's something that's completely out of this world. Maybe you want to go to the moon. Okay. Be honest about it. Like, what do you really want? Take everything else aside. I don't care if it's something like, you know, we're talking about niche definition, right? But you know, if something you really love to do is you want to save the elephants and you think, okay, there's no way for me to monetize this. Well, there is. There absolutely is. And you have to take that, you know, that third step or that fifth step out of your brain and just sit and think about what's real and what's honest, what is true to you and what do you truly want. The next thing is to believe in yourself. Okay. And I think that's a big part of how I got into this, because when I was having these conversations with people, these are people that I genuinely believe in. I've had so many of these, and I come from an area like a small town where I feel like, you know, people kind of tend to stay there and they don't go out and do these big things that they are more than capable of doing. And I 900% believe that they're capable of accomplishing things that are way bigger often than the conversations that we were having, right? I remember talking to somebody about, he did like a sports column, and he was just really good at like narrating sports events, right? And I remember always being like, you need to be on ESPN, you need to be a sportscaster. Like, you would be absolutely incredible at that. And, you know, talking about, you know, doing like, you know, high school games and stuff like that. It's so small scale. This is somebody who legitimately could be on ESPN, like the sportscaster guy. And I 1000% believe that. It's more difficult for me to apply to myself. So I actually have other people who do that for me, right? So if you're just joining now, we're talking about the 3 core requirements to success in any area of life. The second is believing in yourself. So if you're struggling with that, a couple tips. One is daily affirmations. I know a lot of people reject this idea, especially the people who really need to do it. You're the ones who are going to reject it the most. But daily affirmations, it's really simple. It's for me, I started doing it a while ago, and basically just like looking in the mirror and saying, you are smart, you are strong, you are capable. Whatever it is that you need to believe about yourself, in order to achieve your goals, you need to tell yourself that. If you don't believe it, that's okay. Just say it. Say it over and over. If you do it for 7 days, I know you probably, like, there's so many people who will see this and be like, that's so stupid, I'm not doing that. Just for me, please do me this favor, do it for 7 days. Write down a few things that you need to believe in yourself and look in the mirror every single day and say, you are, and then whatever it is you need to believe, you are loved, right? You are worthy, you are valuable, you have really valuable things to offer to this world. That's why I love the niche definition part of what I do, right? Because people have so much value, and they just get stuck in like doing jobs and things that, spending their time doing things that aren't really bringing out that worth, and they aren't delivering that value that they have to the world. So I want to see more of that, right? So yeah, look in the mirror, do daily affirmations and say, you are worthy, you're smart, you're strong, you're brave, whatever it might be. Do it for 7 days. And then come back and tell me that you still think it's stupid. Because I swear it works, okay? So yeah, believing in yourself. And another part of that is just having other people around you, surrounding yourself with people who genuinely believe in you. If you are around people who don't think that you can accomplish big things, or the types of people who kind of constantly berate your positive efforts, right? It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to succeed. So it's really important to surround yourself with those people. And, you know, sometimes you kind of get stuck around people like that. There's nothing you can do about it, but go out and find new people who genuinely believe in you and support you, and talk to them every single day. Whenever you feel like you can't do this thing, whatever it is, or you just kind of need a kick in the ass, go talk to that person who believes in you. And the third thing is to invest in yourself, right? So when I was thinking about this, I'm like, okay, I was going to do a video in my freelancer group, and I was going to do a training on how to define your niche. But really, these things are required first before you can really jump in that direction. You have to be real. You have to be honest with yourself about who you are and what you want. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to invest in yourself. Okay, so that's why I'm doing that here, because I guess it kind of applies to any area of life and anybody. So I didn't want to just limit it to the group. But you know, I was thinking about the video, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go live. I'm going to name this video. And I initially had 2 things that had come down to. It was about being real and honest and believing in yourself. And I was like, what's that? Okay, like 2 keys to success, whatever. And for some reason, I just felt the need to Google it. Like, what do other people think are the keys to success? So I Google it. I'm going to pull it up right now. 3 keys to success in life that will change you in 2019. So I'm going through these, and it was incredible how similar they were. But another thing that popped up that happened to kind of pop up in my life earlier today also. Oops, where'd it go? So the one key was to write down your goals, which obviously, I mean, we've talked about that before. Absolutely write down your goals. It makes a huge, actually writing them makes a huge difference. The second was create a powerful belief system. And highlighted here is when people ask you about your goals in life, don't be afraid to say it out loud. Now, that all comes back to believing in yourself. Like, believe it, imagine it, and own it. Own that dream, own that goal that you have, right? So you have to believe in yourself. And then the third thing was invest in yourself. And whoops, where'd you guys go? There we are. The third thing was invest in yourself. And I thought this was funny because it popped up on a post. I follow Lauren Golden. She has a group
to say it out loud. Now that all comes back to believing in yourself. Like, believe it, imagine it, and own it. Own that.
Talking over myself. Okay. So yeah, I follow Lauren Golden. She created a movement called the Free Mama Movement. And she posted something yesterday that really just kind of stuck with me. And it was, if you can't invest in yourself, how do you expect other people to invest in you, or something along those lines? And I was like, oh my God, I love that. I'm totally stealing it. And then this popped up, right? Invest in yourself. You have to invest in yourself in order to achieve anything, right? And it could be time, it could be, and all that, again, it ties back to believing in yourself. You have to be willing to invest in yourself in order to accomplish anything. And I know that a lot of us spend a lot of time investing in other people and other things. And it's so much easier for us to look at other people and believe in them, right? We don't have self-doubts about other people. Okay, I can look at somebody and say, oh my God, you're so good at this. Like, I don't see what goes on internally. I don't see their anxiety. I don't see their self-doubt. So it's easy for me to believe in other people. But when it comes to yourself, you know, we spend so much time like helping other people and dealing with other people and investing our time with them. And we forget that, you know, first of all, in order to really serve them better, we have to invest in ourselves to be the best self that you can possibly be and bring the best version of yourself to other people. You have to invest in yourself. Okay, so a few takeaways here. I want everyone who's watching this to please, if you're not already doing this, please just go take 7 days. I'm going to come back 7 days from now. So what is it? It's Tuesday. I'm going to come back in 7 days. And I'm going to check in with everybody who watched this video. And I want to hear that you did daily affirmations every day, that you actually talked to yourself and said, you know, you are. You can say I am. A lot of people use that language. I prefer to say you are because I feel like I'm talking to other people. So you know, you can do this. You are worthy. You are valuable, right? It's easier for me to say it that way because, again, I feel like I'm talking to somebody else. And for some reason, that self-doubt creeps in when you start talking about yourself and examining yourself and what your worth is. It's just a little bit easier to do it that way. There's also, kind of side note, there's an app called Think Up and a bunch of things like that where you verbally, like you record affirmations and then you play them back to yourself. And for some reason, they have an explanation of it on the app itself, but it sticks in your brain better somehow when it's coming to you from your own voice, right? And then another thing there, I mean, you can always go to people who genuinely believe in you and like ask them, like fish for compliments. Go, if you're feeling self-doubt, go talk to somebody who doesn't doubt you. Talk to somebody who looks up to you. And there are people who look up to you. They're all over the place. I mean, people, again, they don't see what's going on internally. They don't see, you know, the self-doubt that you have inside. So you know, if you're feeling like you're not confident, right, there are like tons of people in the world who look at you like you're the most confident person on the planet. And how can I be like more like that person, right? So yeah, you can, so do some daily affirmations, do them for 7 days. Be real, have honest conversations with people and have honest conversations with yourself about what it is that you truly want out of life, and invest in yourself. So do whatever it takes to get to that next step, whatever it is that you're looking for in life. Make that investment, invest your time, dedicate yourself, commit to something, you know, say, okay, tomorrow for an hour, I'm going to focus on whatever it is. Maybe you want to start a gym routine. Maybe you want to read a book. Maybe there's just something that you want to do for yourself. Invest in yourself, invest your time, invest your money, whatever it is, do something for yourself the way that I know you would do for other people, right? So yeah, that's it. 3 core requirements to success in any area of life. Be real, believe in yourself, and invest in yourself. Now I'm going to tie this, I'm going to go over into the group, Quit Your Job in 90 Days, and I'm going to tie this into niche development. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you want to start a business, you want to quit your job, you want to work from home, or maybe you're already doing that, you know, you're in a service, you're self-employed in the area of service, sorry, so you're freelancing, and you want to scale up, go ahead and jump over to the group. I'll post a link in the comments, and we'll dive into how to define your niche and jump in and find ideal clients. Okay, so question from Chloe. Do you have any advice for building up courage to do a Facebook Live in your network? That's an awesome question. This is not, okay, I'm actually pretty comfortable doing this right now, but it wasn't always that way. I was in a coaching program, and we did a challenge in the group, and you had to go live 3 times in 1 week. I'd never gone live in my entire life. It was actually fairly recently. You can probably go find the video. I was like, this is my first live, oh my God. And I just did it. I mean, it was, yeah, I asked a bunch of questions first. I was like, how do you guys do it? You know, a lot of the people, like the people in the group or people who have like done this before, I'm like, you guys already know what you're doing. I have no clue what to do. I don't even know how, like, how do I go live? And they're like, well, you know, you can write down like some things that you want to talk about. And they gave me some tips, and I had a little note, you know, right next to me, and it was kind of like step by step what I wanted to talk about. And I went live and I kind of went over it, and I was like, I'm totally going to screw this up, but what's the worst that could happen? Like, I get on live video and people see me going, you know, like I'm stuttering or whatever. Okay, so what? I don't care. Like, these are people who I'm connected with on Facebook. I actually connect now a lot with people I don't personally know, but, you know, at that point it was mostly people I knew. And if they hate me for like totally flubbing a live video, okay, then they probably would have hated me anyway. Like, what's the worst that can happen? So I just did it. And I had to do it 3 times in 1 week. The challenge was it was like for like a $10 gift card or something. And I was like, I have to get it. Like, there's no excuse for me to not do this. I have to get this $10 gift card. So I just did it. And I was really resistant to it. I remember like the last video I did, it was like, they had to be at least 10 minutes long. And the last video I did was like, I finished it like a minute before the deadline for the challenge. But doing 3 of them was, it made me more consistent. And I also saw how it helped other people, how it got people to engage more. The way that Facebook algorithms work, if you go over 10 minutes, I mean, right now I'm at almost 22 minutes. And I'm totally comfortable doing this now because I just did it. I just started doing it, right? And now I'm at a point where, like, again, I said at the beginning of the video, I wasn't planning on going live. I'm wearing sweatpants right now. I look like a complete mess. Today was not a day for Facebook Live. I was going to go in my group and do a video, but, you know, it's a smaller group, so it wasn't something I was nervous about. But I'm totally comfortable doing this now just because I did it, right? It's really just, I mean, it's what my coach would call a Nike moment. You just do it. Just go and do it. Write down some points. You'll probably over prepare for it, you know, but think about what you want to talk about and then just hit the button. Like, just go live, just do it, and then just start talking. And the cool thing is, when I go back, I always go back. Well, I don't anymore, but I used to go back and I usually download videos, especially if there's something like if it was a training video or something where there's content that I want to reuse. So I have like a YouTube channel and a couple different groups. So I'll download the video and I'll post it somewhere else. And when I'm doing that, I usually end up watching it, or it's just kind of running. And I noticed through watching the video, when I'm on the video and I'm doing the video, I feel like I come off as anxious, right? And nervous. And I feel like I'm screwing it up. But then when I go back and watch it, it's actually really good. And like, that doesn't come off, even though I'm watching myself and I'm overly critical of myself because it's me, right? When I watch it, I don't feel like the way that I feel when I'm actually doing the video. It feels like it was done right. I don't feel like, even areas where I kind of struggle and I stop and I don't know what to talk about next, or I lose my place, it seems like it's handled well when I watch the replay. So yeah, so Chloe, just do it. That's all I have. You literally just have to press the live button and do it. If you're really resistant to it, one tip I got was to create a group with nobody in it and practice going live in there. So it's more like, you know, I was nervous. I wasn't really, it was an excuse, but I was nervous about the practical aspects of it. So like, what do I do? What if when I hit live, the video's not on and I don't know if the sound is on or whatever? It's really easy, and that wasn't an issue. But somebody told me to just go practice in a private group that has nobody in it, and that way you're like doing the live, you know, you can kind of mess with the controls or whatever. There's really no controls, you just hit the button. But you can kind of mess with it in there, and then you can go back and watch it, and you can see that you actually did a great job. So I hope that's helpful. Any other questions, feel free to drop in the comments. I'm just going to say this now. I'm going to do another live video Thursday. So any other questions, I'll address them in the next live video. And that way I'm committed to it and I have to do it on Thursday, right? All right, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, rest of your week. I will talk to you on Thursday.